Hey guys, welcome back to the American Dream Channel. This is your host, Steven Martinez. I'm here with a very special guest, my boy Kaiser. Thanks for coming, bro.
Yeah, thank you for having me, brother. That's how you know it's going to be a good one.
Dude, the last one we ended up with a nice clap too.
It's going to be a good one, brother. That's Beautiful. The telltale sign.
So you're a managing partner for Blue Hammer Roofing. I know that. I guess for anyone not watching or someone who doesn't, I guess, know who you are, how would you describe where you are now and what brought you to your success?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question. Man, I'm a regular guy, man. I'm a regular guy who's given my life to my craft. I'm a guy that's accountable. I'm a guy that's disciplined. I'm a guy that believes in God. I'm a guy who wants to conquer the world, my friend. So if I had to sum me up in a nutshell, that's who I am. And thank God I've had the vehicle to be able to do that. I was in the fitness industry for 10 years, got out of that, got in the roofing game, and it's been blessings since. So that's me in a nutshell.
Well, we want to dig deep. I'm talking like childhood, like what made you the man that you are today in terms of that? Obviously, I think every entrepreneur has kind of that spark or that moment in life where they kind of like, oh man, I think this was a transformative moment in my life. Like for me was, I met my mentor at a bar at like 2 a.m. at Bottle Blonde during 2020 during COVID.
Nice. Which bottled?
The one here in Houston.
Oh, okay, very nice.
Yeah, so I was doing my MBA and then I was talking to my boy and then I met him. Long story short, pretty much a pivotal point that I got introduced to the industry. So I guess what I'm trying to say is for you, what was kind of your trajectory that led you to that success?
Yeah, without going too far into my childhood as of now, my professional career started, I was working in the retail business, like at Best Buy. I had 2 jobs. I was working there and I was working American Eagle, like the clothing store overnight. I was doing like packaging and all that stuff. Long story short, I got fired from Best Buy.
And why?
Yeah, I've had better days, but some of it involves some theft, which I'm not proud of.
Okay.
Alleged theft, was and then like some physical assault stuff too. So it wasn't good. Not the best of days. I'm a different man today.
Yeah.
But everything happens for a reason, and that led me into going into the fitness industry. I met a buddy of mine in a Spanish class in college, which I didn't end up finishing. But again, sometimes people are in your life for a season and a reason. We all know this, right? And that set me up to go work in the fitness industry. I got to tell you, my first interview in the fitness industry is one we mentioned mentors. It's this guy named Larry Lopez. He's a Cuban guy from Miami, right? He's one of my good friends now too. And I remember sitting there in an interview with him, right? And he's like, "Look, kid, I need you to go home, go change, go get a haircut, go shave your beard, go do something with that, and go find some nice shoes. And if you do, we'll set you up for another interview." And I was pissed. Bro, I'm 18 at this time. Like, you can't tell me nothing, right? I got an ego issue at this point. And I was like, "These are nice shoes." He was like, "Find some nicer shoes." And I remember driving home.
That's funny.
And I was so pissed. But I did it. I changed. Something told me to listen to this guy. Went back home, changed, went for the interview, stayed at that company for 10 years. And that was a big piece of who I am today. So that was a bit of my turning point.
What company was it?
That was LA Fitness.
Okay.
Yeah. We have those out here in Houston.
Yeah, absolutely. What was your specific role there?
So I started off as a membership counselor.
Okay.
So as a membership counselor, you're hustling memberships on the streets, right? Like you're going out talking to people. "Hey, you look like you work out. Where do you work out at? Oh, nice. You like to lift weights. We've got over 25,000 pounds worth of free weights." You're getting them. Getting excited about the gym. And then I became an assistant manager, then a general manager. Then I moved to Little Rock, Arkansas to be a district manager, and then became a district vice president. Moved around a little bit, and then ultimately became an executive vice president. And it was a hell of a ride, man.
So moving forward from there, I mean, that's like apples and pears. You're in from the gym to construction. What was that transition like? Or how did you even get into that industry?
Good question. So I had a really good friend, and he's still one of my best friends and a mentor of mine. His name is Kurt Linnington, and he runs a really big roofing business out of Dallas. And honestly, he was also in the fitness industry. He left, and I just saw him graduating to different levels and different heights, and new car, new house, new this, new that. And I'm like, I want some of that too.
Yeah.
And as much as I love the fitness industry and I love what, that company did for me, sometimes, even in a relationship, you maybe just outgrow each other. Maybe she wants to do this and you want to do that, and you're just not maybe seeing eye to eye. And it's not like it's a bad thing, but sometimes you got to let go to move forward. And I think that's what the fitness industry was for me. So I got into the roofing space, kind of following the people in front of me, and yeah, it's been awesome, man. It's been a really cool blessing.
And I know you sold the company, correct? Or
We
part of
did,
it?
we did. We did
Was it a
last
full
October.
sellout or was it a percentage?
No, we do a percentage, and
Okay.
a lot of those deals are done that way. Not all, of course. You know, you're a smart dude. We did about 70% of our business because whenever these private equity firms invest in your business, they don't really want to like do the work, like take over, right? They want to, and rightfully so, because they've got the financial resources and other resources. So they want to put the money in, have you still work for X amount of time, and get to the next exits, and then they cash it out, and everyone gets paid. So, excuse me.
So coming into the roofing industry, I understand you're in the gym, you worked your way up the ladder, the corporate ladder per se, you were hustling, working, and then you got introduced to something through a mentor / friend that you saw. But how did you get in the game? I think Kurt owns Linear Roofing, correct?
Correct.
And you own
Blue Hammer Roofing,
Blue
yep.
Hammer. So how did you start your own thing? Was it kind of like you got like a team together? Was it you by yourself at one point? How did that kind of go?
So it's a funny story. I ended up starting up a business with a buddy of mine, with two buddies of mine, and we called it Rafter Roofing.
Rafter Roofing?
Long before Blue Hammer, there was a Rafter Roofing. We started Rafter Roofing, and I had asked one of the partners, we're just going to call him Joe at the moment, right? I asked Joe to go work with one of our other buddies, Will, because Will also owned a roofing company. Now, stay with me for a second. I asked Joe, I said, hey, go work with Will, try to see if you can learn the ins and outs, and then we'll start up our company. And, of course, I gave Will a call. I said, hey, bro, he's going to come work with you, but we have every intention to leave and start up our own. So if that's going to be an issue, like, no worries, we're good. And I'll never forget his response. He's such a cool cat. He was like, listen, as long as he doesn't take any deals that he does with me, I don't care. I'll help you out. So that's what we did. So then we started up Rafter, and we're selling. We're installing a roof a day during wintertime. And I'm meeting with other roofing guys who are like, bro, you're doing this during wintertime? We're closers. This is what I learned in the industry. Anyways, there was a big piece that we didn't learn, which was like the whole back-end process. So long story short, you're dealing a lot with insurance companies. And due to a lack of knowledge, we ended up in almost $500,000 in debt.
Wow.
Yeah, and everything was under my name.
Shit.
All our accounts with our suppliers, even Home Depot, Lowe's, all that stuff. So it got really tricky there for a second.
How'd you overcome that? Mentally?
Mentally, here's the cool thing about these adverse situations, and I know you know it very well. You either have a breakdown or you have a breakthrough. And when you got a G mindset, the only option is to break through, because breaking down means I'm letting myself down, I'm letting my family down, I'm letting my friends down, I'm letting down everyone that's ever believed in me. And that doesn't even exist in my mind as an option. So those kind of situations make you very resourceful. So I hit up one of my good friends and ended up becoming my partner at Blue Hammer. His name is Freddie Murphy. I hit up Freddie. He had been in the roofing game for probably 5 years at that point. And I was like, bro, I need some help, man. And, man, I'll never forget what that man did for me. He went to customers' homes and helped explain the back-end process. He got on the line with insurance companies, the whole work. And one by one, now 500K went down to 480K, then to 400K, 350, 250, 200, 100, to the point where we got out of it and then even had some profit at the end. So imagine that. And in that, I just realized from a character perspective what kind of dude Freddie was. And it led us to open Blue Hammer Roofing.
And then when you started Blue Hammer Roofing, when did you open it?
We opened in January of 2020.
And then you sold last year?
Yes, we sold October of last year of 2023.
That's unheard of for a company to sell out in 3 years. What was the secret sauce to that?
There's a lot. There's a lot to it, and yeah, I'm pretty proud to say that we set the record for that. So we just got to sprinkle that in there. Not to brag, but it's a major accomplishment, because I also spent 10 years at a different company, right? So to be able to do something like that in that period of time, we take a lot of pride in that. There's many things. Jim Collins says it in Good to Great, right? He says you get the right people on the right bus, and I am actually a huge believer in that. But you got to get that bus going in the right direction, and everyone's got to see the vision. And I think that's one big piece that a lot of leaders sometimes miss, is they forget to explain and share the vision. Like you were telling me just while we were outside, you're like, I had a vision for this car and people didn't see it. And I'm walking up to that thing, I was like, dude, you had this thing painted, you had a color, this looks great.
Yeah.
Sometimes we see it, and maybe sometimes people can't see it, and that's okay. But if we can articulate it and we can live it out, people start becoming believers slowly, right? I think that was one big piece of it. And then secondly, man, listen, I know everyone says this, so this doesn't sound very cliche, but our people, listen, if you pull away the people in our business, we don't really have much. I think we got some good processes. I think we have some good systems, no doubt. But our people, like our culture, and like they have driven this thing. There's been so many processes that we've implemented because we just listen to our people. Because they're our frontline leaders, right? They're seeing things that I'm not seeing at this point. So we listen to them, we meet once a month with them, and we just get feedback. Hey, tell me all the problems in the business, and then let's figure out solutions. So I think a combination of those things and, you know, being hyper competitive and aggressive, I think anyone can dominate whatever their space may be.
Absolutely. So Blue Hammer Roofing, and having said that, I guess when you first started it, was it just like from the get-go, just all...
Yeah, well, remember, we're COVID babies. Remember, 3 months into it, COVID hit. So we actually, so we were like, yeah, let's do this. And then we're like, what's this COVID thing? You can't go knock doors. But we were deemed to be, what was the term?
Recession-proof. Yeah, recession-proof.
Recession-proof too. But remember, there was like essential workers, people who
could work. So you can still do it.
Yeah. By definition, we were able to work. So that was a blessing in its own.
Yeah.
And
blue-collar industry actually flourished during COVID. Yeah,
it was. Here's what I remember. I'll never forget this. I remember all the guys coming and everyone was worried. Everyone was concerned. They're like, what are we going to do? Like, we can't really knock doors anymore. Like, and if we do, people don't want to open the doors. They're worried about this COVID thing. And I remember having a big meeting with everyone, and I was like, listen, guys, here's the good news. The good news is people are going to be at home. When you were knocking doors in the middle of the day, they were at work.
True.
So they're going to be home. That's one good thing. Secondly, they're going to be bored at home. They're going to want to talk to somebody. Yeah. They're going to want to do something. They're going to be, you know, cabin fever, whatever it's called, right?
Yeah.
Thirdly, checks are being issued. People are getting more money than they've ever received in their life in some cases. So people have time, money, and they're bored. You just have to be a friendly personality, knock that door, show them some love, look after them. We'll make this whole process touchless, seamless. We can do it all digitally. We don't have to touch hands. And we'll make this a fun project. And that's the sale that we make with people. And I got to tell you, man, my people took that and they ran with it. And I think in leadership, that's how you got to be. Problem, solution. Everything can be flipped, right? And I think some companies saw that big problem and unfortunately they didn't make the necessary adjustments they needed to make, and we know what happened with some of them.
Yeah. So I like how you say that too, because in essence it's survival of the fittest, right? You have to adapt to survive. And that's just in any business. And I think COVID transitioned that a lot too with not just the blue collar space, but any service, right?
100%.
Having said that, the way you guys started off, COVID kind of catapulted that to more success, right?
Yep.
Now, within that frame, I guess for me, this is more of a question for anyone that's looking to kind of gain interest in terms of private equity firms that are looking to buy out companies and they're interested, but they don't understand it. Within those 3 years of work, what is a private equity firm looking for when it comes to buying out a company? Is it just because, you guys are up and coming, or do you guys have the systems in place, or is it because of the team, or is it because of the results? Is it the numbers? What is it exactly?
That's a beautiful question. And I got a very straight up answer for that. There's a few things. EBITDA, you got to make sure your EBITDA number is as high as you can be for really your best interest, because they pay you a multiplier on your EBITDA. And it's like, well, what's EBITDA? EBITDA in a nutshell, just think of it in a very simple way, profit.
Profit after taxes, right?
After amortization, taxes, debt, etc. Get that thing high. Make sure your business is as profitable as can be. That is number one. If you don't have a profitable business, you can be doing $100 million in revenue.
Yeah.
But if your EBITDA is $5 million, $2 million, it's like there's nothing attractive about that.
Yeah.
It's money in, money out. Like we're not doing much there. That's number one. But the other piece is it must be a scalable and sustainable business, meaning private equity must be able to look at what you've got going on and saying, okay, if we implement X, Y, and Z, we can scale this thing from here to all the way here. Wow. And these practices that they already have in place are sustainable. And matter of fact, we can actually be more of a value add and make this thing that much more profitable. We'd want to invest. It's almost like, think of it like this. It's almost like buying, if you're flipping houses, you don't want to buy something that's complete shit, right? Because you're like, man, this is going to take like $1 million to fix.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, you're like, damn, this is kind of a steal. I can just do a little bit of floor work here, a little bit on the roof there. I can paint out here, just touch-ups here. But my return on it will be much more than I invest. That's private equity when they're studying your business.
Got it. And now in terms of your area where working at Dallas. Dallas is competitive, dude, when it comes to the construction space. How do you differentiate yourself with your competition? Like, what do you do? And I think this applies to just in general for any entrepreneur and business owner. Like, what sets you apart from your competition, especially starting so soon, so quick, being bought out by a PE firm? That's really unheard of. What was that mindset, or like, hey man, like, this is what's going to set us apart? Obviously, you weren't doing the same stuff other people were doing, because then you'd still be there. What was your secret sauce?
Man, that's a really good question. The first one, I think, is, and I know it's said so much, but everything is up here, right? You're right. It is the most competitive market in all of the U.S. And we have one of two options, Stephen, right? Okay, it is. Well, I'm just going to not, we're going to lose deals. It is what it is. It's part of the game. Or, no, let's train some more on how we're going to overcome all these objections, like the competitor objection. And let's train some more on it until it becomes like to a point where I can wake you up in the middle of the night, shine a flashlight in your face and say, hey, how you overcome the competitor objection? You're able to rat it out, right? Like, we need to be that good if we're going to compete. And then our product and our service, we have to be top tier. We have this saying in our company, treat it like it's your mom's roof, where
I like that.
Yeah, if it was your mom's roof and you lost some money on the job, not that it's not a profitable job, but you didn't maybe make as much profit because you did it the right way, we're not chasing the paycheck, we're chasing the career. And that's the mentality in our business.
The long-term game.
That's it, man. Short-term sacrifice with a long-term gain. That's the name of the game. And when people get that piece down, we're no longer thinking about tomorrow's paycheck. We're thinking about 1 year, 5 years, 10 years from now. So a combination of those two things, I think if you apply those things in any industry, you'll certainly separate yourself from everyone else.
I like that you say that, always looking at the long-term game. I have people ask me all the time, they're like, dude, I have this or that, how can I contribute or provide value? And the answer is quite simple. Is, any way of providing value. I'll give you a perfect example. My editor, you know how many messages I get on Instagram and social media saying, hey, let me edit your...
Gazillion.
Yeah, and then this guy's like, I'll do it for free for 2 weeks. And I was like, okay, why not? Did it, smashed it, now he's been my full-time editor for like 2 years.
Wow.
Another one was, have you ever met Tommy Mello?
I have not.
Have you heard of him?
I think through you.
Yeah, so he's a solid guy. He sold A1 Garage for 150 mil. I think like 49% of it. Absolute great guy though. Like, you'd love it, man.
Beautiful.
Long story short, we go to dinner, and then I know how it is when you're an entrepreneur and you're successful, because I'm in that same boat, and I'm very, I guess, traditional in that aspect of the way I was raised. So we go to this normal place, nothing crazy. And then I'm like, can we go to the restroom? Go to the restroom, like, get the waiter, I'm like, put it on my tab, close out. And then that's unheard of for a lot of people, bro, because, a lot of people like to leech and freeload and take advantage, right? And that small gesture of me doing it to a billionaire, buying his dinner with his fiance, and then me and my girlfriend at the time, ended up creating the best relationship ever. He spoke at my event last year. Did a sponsorship for like $25,000. So just to let people understand too, is like, it's all about providing value, and the fact that you're saying that create the long-term game, I think is very important to understand. Having said that, with Blue Hammer Roofing, what's the plan now in like the next 5-10 years now that you guys are bought? Are you still going to pertain to it, or what's the goal?
Yeah, good question. We want to be $1 billion brand. Like, the job's not finished for us, my friend. Like, bro, listen, we got in this thing to be the best of the best. One of our 5 core principles is the pursuit of excellence, and that's, we want to be the best of the best and second to nobody, period. Like, that's it. We've done a private equity deal, which is awesome, cool, great, but the job's not done. Like, now, to me, the way I see it is, we were playing minor league ball, and now we're playing major league ball. And you know what happens in major league ball? One of two things. You get a lot of people who get a big fat payday, and then that's all they ever wanted, and you can tell because their career, their trajectory was this, they get paid, and they're
on the bench now, they're just chilling.
Yeah, they're chilling, or they go downhill.
Yeah.
For us, no doubt, we may have got our payday, but for us, we're interested in that Kobe mentality. Like, okay, we got this payday, but it's because we're here to get to the next level and the next level and the next level. That's what we're after. So we will acquire more companies onto our platform. And I'm interested in potentially taking on some bigger roles on the private equity platform and helping out these other businesses that are with us, and then just continuously building, man. Because what that's going to do is it's going to create more opportunities for our people, man. And I've got a lot of really good people who've been rolling with me since day one. Some guys have been rolling with me for a decade from my fitness industry days.
Wow.
And I want to make sure I can make them millionaires. And I want to make sure I can give them lives that they dream of and their families dream of. You know what I'm saying? Like, if we can do that, for me, mission accomplished. And then I can ride off into the sunset. But until then, the job's not done. I got to make these guys millionaires, man.
Bro, let me dig into your mind. Like, this is fascinating stuff. Your mindset, that competitive hunger, that drive, where does it come from? There has to be a source. There has to be something. There's a driving factor behind someone. What is that driving factor behind you?
Yeah, I've put a lot of thought into that over the years. And listen, I think probably like most people who are competitive and want to get after it and want to take shit over, they usually don't come from much, right? So I've got some pretty humble beginnings. Like, I wasn't born in this country. I came here when I was pretty young, and we were immigrants, and we lived in small little tiny apartments. And I'll never forget, there was times of the day we were living in Southern California, right? And we were living in a small little 2-bedroom apartment. And there's 5 of us at the time, my parents and my 2 other siblings. And I was the youngest at the time. And there'd be moments of the day where I couldn't go outside and play because we lied on the application and said there's only 4 people. Because you can't have 5 people living in a 2-bedroom apartment. Like, they have standards, right? Like, they don't want to overcrowd it, community, whatever the guidelines are, I don't know. And that sucks. And I did that for many years. We'd move into a little house, and people would come over like, oh, you can't, the owners, the landlords are coming, and you can't be at home. And it's like, because we also told them there's only so many people in the house. And listen, I say this with all the love and respect for my parents, because they did the best they could do, and I love them for that, and I respect them for that. I wanted a better life, man.
Of course. You
know what I'm saying? And the people around me, I want to give a better life to my family, my parents, my future children, my team, the people around me. And something about that just makes me not want to stop. It's just, sometimes I can't even explain it. And I think just a piece of it, Stephen, is like, when you're a man and you're a man and you really harness into who you are as a masculine male, I think it's in all of us. I think some of us shut it down because people in the past have said, oh, you're doing too much, or you're too loud, you're too this, you're too that. I didn't give a shit. I didn't listen to any of that. Because I'd look at and I'd study people, and I'm like, you're telling me this, but I don't want to be like you. So why the hell would I listen to you? So I just kept going. And I got to tell you, man, all the people that are highly, highly successful, none of them told me to slow down, and I want to be just like them. So I know it's kind of a long-winded answer, and I took it in a couple of different directions, but I think it's the root in all of us.
I think that's the perfect answer I was looking for, honestly. If you asked me the same question, I would say your driving factor comes from childhood, 100%.
Yeah.
And my mom and dad got divorced when I was 12, 13. My mom cleaned houses. No one told me to wake up at 5 a.m. to help her clean houses. I did it with my own goodwill. And, I saw the sacrifices, and I guess the drive that someone comes here, right, for an opportunity, a better life, a safer life, and I didn't want to take advantage of what they gave me. And then I worked my ass off. I obviously went to school, but then my pivotal point was when I met my mentor, and then it transitioned from there. But that's exactly what I was kind of asking for. Would you say your parents obviously too had a big kind of embedment in terms of your mindset? They always wanted you to hey, be the best, you're here, drive?
Yeah, I respect that a lot. You know what's crazy? Not really.
Really?
But let me tell you why, though. Immigrant mindset.
That's interesting. Continue.
Yeah. This isn't our country. We're not meant to do these kinds of jobs. Go to school, get a degree, get a good job, stay safe.
Consistency, stability.
Yeah, and listen.
Yeah.
I understand. Because who told them that? Their parents.
Of course.
And who told, that was the thought process.
Yeah.
And nothing about that sounded exciting to me. Listen, bro, I saw my dad work like a dog for years all my life. My dad still works his ass off today. He doesn't need to.
Yeah.
But it's in him.
It's in
he got
him,
that
yeah.
dog in him, right?
Yeah.
He just does, man, and I respect him for it.
Yeah. Same.
I saw him do that for many, many years, and we've struggled still. You know what I'm saying? And I wasn't okay with that. I just wasn't. I was like, I want more. Like, why are these people out here driving these Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and McLarens and living in these badass houses, and I can't? But yeah, the thought process of my family was, even when I got in the fitness industry, was like, no, you need to stay in school. Ma, I don't want to go to school. Then I got a promotion. Well, yeah, anyone can get that promotion. It was assistant manager. Ma, I got promoted to general manager. Pops, I got promoted to general manager. Yeah, but you're kind of at a slow gym, so it's not the same. It wasn't until like 4 years in the industry, I became a district vice president and I had a 6-figure salary. And then they became believers. And then they were like, oh shit, son, like, okay, you're doing it. You got it. Like, you're doing all right.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah. And then before I left the roofing industry, the roofing industry, they were like, listen, the dumbest thing you can do is leave your nice job with your nice pay. You worked 10 years to get here. Why would you leave? You're an idiot. And I was like, it's not enough. I want more for us. And thank God, man, it's led us to where we're at today. So, but sometimes you need doubters. It's the best thing you can have, and you know what I'm talking about. Because although it's great to have your parents' support, but how many people along the way doubted you, told you weren't going to be shit?
Oh, a lot, bro.
More than the people that supported you. True or false?
Very true, and yeah, very true. Since I was in high school, man, especially moving forward, once I wanted to do my own stuff, it's been a roller coaster. But my mindset it's so strong, kind of like yours. People could say this or that. I don't care, dude. I'm so
bounces
driven.
right off.
It does. I'm driven, motivated. I'm so hungry and determined to be successful.
Bro, if you're 26, look at you. Like, we're doing an interview on your podcast. You got a big show coming up. Like, this is insane. You should be proud. You're doing big things.
I'm like you though. I'm not like, and that's my default, bro. Like, I'm a perfectionist, so it's like, all right, cool, but there's more.
There is more.
You know what I mean?
I'm not saying to stop. I'm saying take a second to be like, cool, dope, keep it moving though. I'm not that guy telling you you should be proud, take a whole day, a week, month,
bro.
Take a moment.
We're moving strong.
Yeah, we got to go though. You got the whole world to conquer just like I do, my friend. And the more time we take off, the more time the competition has to catch up. And I'm not letting nobody catch up.
So let me ask you a question now. So I understand, I guess, your childhood, right? How it was, your family, the circumstances that you were brought in, and then the vision that you wanted to achieve. Having said that, you moved forward. High school, you didn't go to college, correct?
I made a pitch stop in college.
Did you get a degree? Or?
I absolutely positively did not get a degree, no sir.
Regardless, you were in the gym industry, you killed it, and then obviously you were hungry to become more successful, which is fine, right? That's an entrepreneur mindset. Having said that, in terms of, I guess, your surrounding, and I want to kind of touch base on this because you're young, and I think you understand my question. At what point in your life did you realize I have to let go of like the weeds, or take out the weeds, or let go of X or Y person? For example, myself, I'm 26. If you ask me how many friends I have my age, I'll probably say 1 or 2. And one lives in New York. He owns Cereal. It's like a $50 million company, and the other guy has a construction company in Minnesota. Like, for you, how important is it to surround yourself with people that want to do well like you?
Bro, listen. We have a new hire training academy that just came in. Every month we bring people onto our team and we put them to a 5-day training academy. And I'll pop in one of the days and I'll give them 3-4 things that I feel like everyone should do if they want to be successful in the industry. And number 1 on that list is always what you just said. You must surround yourself with the right people. If you want to change the trajectory of your life, it's actually quite simple. It's not easy, but it's simple. And the difference between easy and simple is this. I want to lose 20 pounds. It's simple. Lift weights, do cardio, eat better. But ask someone who needs to lose 20 pounds how hard that is. It ain't easy. But it is a simple formula. Just like surrounding yourself with the right people is a simple formula. You want to change the trajectory of your life, change the people that you hang out with. Now, here's the thing. If you want to change the trajectory of your life, you want to hang out with people that are obviously doing much better than you, right? My thing is this. If they have the things that I want and or possess the attributes and traits that I desire, I want to be around them.
Yeah.
Simple as that, right? But here's the thing, though. Those people ain't just letting anybody in.
That's true.
And rightfully so. So here's what you got to do. You need to do one of 2 things. Like the kid you mentioned earlier, the editor. I say he's a kid, but the editor. What did he offer you? He said, hey, bruv, I will edit your videos for 2 weeks or for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
That's how he got close to you. So the best thing you can do if you want to get into a better circle, offer some form of value. Find where they're lacking value or an opportunity, add value. That's one way. The second way is if you've got the money, you got to go pay for mentorship, right? And in business, I'll use my business as an example because maybe there's some roofing guys or sales guys listening. You want to study who's at the top of the charts, the top of the leaderboards. Who are the top salespeople? Who are the top leaders, right? Simple as that. Find those people and then figure out how you can be a value add. Because if you want to go hang out with them and you are slowing them down, they're not interested in hanging out with you because they're already moving at 100 and now they have to take care of you. Now they're moving at 95. You have now devalued them. You must be an addition to that value.
An asset.
Correct.
Absolutely.
You got to take them from moving at 100 to 105. How do you do that? Try to outwork them. Give them some competition. Doesn't mean you outperform them immediately, but let them see that you are willing to outwork them. You're willing to outstudy them, and watch how they're like, all right, kid, come here. And so literally, bro, everything can change in your life just by changing the people that you hang out with. I've been blessed throughout pretty much for many years. Like once I got serious in the fitness industry, I didn't have any friends that were my age. I'd be getting hit up for parties. Let's go here. Let's go do this. I can't, bro. Got to be up early at 8 a.m.
Priorities.
Yeah. And some people are like, oh, you did it in 3 years. No, I did it in 13 years. I gave 10 years to that game, and then right, and then I gave the rest of it to this game, and it's like that's what got us there. So it's literally everything, and you know this very well.
What are the other four? You said there was 5 whenever you do. I'm just curious.
Yeah, absolutely. So the first one is surrounding yourself with the right people. The second one is, again, another cliche one, be the hardest working person in the room. Just because you can create luck by doing that.
Yeah.
Right? You can create luck by doing that. And I'll give a door knocking example. Let's say most people at 6 p.m., you've been knocking doors all day, and now you want to go home. Because it's the right thing to do. You're tired. You've been working for 8 hours. But you keep going. You go till the sun goes down. It's 8 o'clock, and you knock that final door, and someone opens the door like, wow, I've been looking for a roofer. And some people will say, oh, he got lucky. His hard work is what created that luck because you went home. Matter of fact, if you stayed, you would have had that luck. So being the hardest working person in the room gets you a different level of success and a different level of respect because everyone admires the things that they are not. And when you're not the hardest working person in the room, you admire that person. You may hate off of them, but you do respect them. You may not like them, but you do respect them. And I think that's very important. The other thing I tell people, especially in sales, don't take anything personal. And don't get high with the highs and don't get low with the lows. You got to be here, right? Because if you're high with the highs, here's what happens. Your paychecks follow. When you're winning and you're excited, your paychecks are up to here. But then when you're sad, depressed, angry because shit ain't going your way, your paychecks are down here. So your whole career is a roller coaster because everything's based off your emotion, meaning there's no discipline involved. And I just don't believe in living a life that way. And so being even keel, man, is just... it's everything. If you can't be even keel, people will play you like a fiddle. You'll be blown around with the wind, and just not a good way to live for any individual who's trying to be successful. And then the fourth one is the Japanese have a saying, and it's called shoshin, and it means having a beginner's mind. If you remain a student of the game, regardless of where you are at in life, and you are learning from people who are doing better than you and have the attributes and traits that you desire, you'll continuously grow. And sometimes that means you need to pick up that damn book and you need to read it. Sometimes it means you need to audiobook it. Sometimes it means you need to go try to take someone out to a dinner and pay them for that dinner for their time so you can learn. Because those people are thinking different than you. You may think you're at a certain level, but I promise you there's a level higher. There just always is. So a lot of people find a level of success and then the ego gets in the way. And that's it. Now they're not students of the game. Now they got it all figured out. Now you can't tell them shit. And it's game over. And literally their career was here. I've seen it happen so many times in front of me, man. And I said 5, but those are the 4 things.
You touched base on a really important note that I think is important that I think sometimes could be the downfall of a lot of successful men, which is ego.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have, but in general, when it comes to ego, how do you deal with that? How do you manage that? Were you ever in a situation where you kind of had to give yourself a reality check? You're like, damn, okay, I need to...
Yeah, bro, listen, that's a really good question. So for many years in the fitness industry, I was dominating as a general manager, right? And that's the position that you're in before you become a vice president. I couldn't get promoted. But I was number 1 in the country, in the state. I was dominating like month in, month out. And I couldn't get promoted. Do you know why? Although I could perform and hit the numbers and get the job done, you couldn't tell me nothing. Meaning I was not coachable. My ego was too big, and for that reason, the people above me didn't want to promote me because
Wow.
they knew if I would have gotten promoted, I would have ran my own show, would have been the Kaiser show, and that's not what they wanted. I needed to comply with company standards and policies, etc., and that's not okay. It cost me a couple years before I got promoted for just my ego alone.
How'd you change that?
You know, I had a couple good mentors along the way that really got in my head and were like, listen, man, I need you to know you're doing a really good job, but you ain't shit. Straight up, you ain't shit. You walk a certain kind of way because you think you're the shit. You talk a certain kind of way because you think you're the shit. You ain't shit. There's guys out there that are much better than you. And you think you're much better than what you actually are. And if you ever want to get promoted, you ever want to be something special, you need to cut that shit out. And I had to hear that a few times. It wasn't just one conversation. And it's some of the best advice I ever got.
So let me ask you this, and this is me asking personally. How do you balance, I guess, ego and confidence? Because you need confidence.
100%. Bro, listen, don't get it twisted. I think ego is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I think just like anything else in life, once you have too much of it, it can destroy you. Anything in surplus can destroy you. Water in surplus can drown you.
Yeah.
But you need it, right? It's finding that balance between you have to be confident. Confidence can get you anything in this world.
I agree.
You can walk in somewhere without being in the right clothes and they have a dress attire, but if you're confident, they're like, it's okay, come on in, sir. You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
Confidence can get you whatever you want. You could not know a specific subject, but if you say it with confidence, people will listen to you. When I didn't know roofing in the beginning, I would just say things with such confidence and customers like, okay, cool. Yeah, sign here. Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I'd walk out and be like, I didn't lie, but I don't know what the hell I just said. But that's the game, right?
Yeah.
So I think having that level of confidence is very, very important. And here's the thing. When your ego starts becoming very destructive,
That's the part. That's the part.
not confidence no more, bro.
Yeah, yep.
That's the sign for me. That's the line.
Yep.
Now everyone's saying I'm arrogant. I'm destroying relationship. My business is going backwards. People are leaving. Okay, there's a trend. Let's stop for a second. But ego is the most amazing thing when it's constructive. Ego is what drives guys like you and I. Like, let's be real for a second. No doubt our past matter and everything else that we said. But listen, you're a man like I'm a man. And you want to take over shit like I do. And that's fueled by ego, bro. And it should be. Like, we want to have the shit that the rest of the people don't have and can't have because they're not willing to put in the work that you and I are. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. I think over the years we've been told there's a problem with that and you shouldn't want more and that's enough and when's it enough? We're not speaking the same language. But I don't want to understand your language because your language is lazy. I don't want to, because is there enough for me and you when we talk? No, not one bit. I don't think so. We're going to go to dinner tonight and you're going to talk about how you want to take over the world and I'm going to talk about it. And neither one of us will be like, well, I think I'd probably stop here. Stop? For what? I don't know what that means. I genuinely do not know what that means, and I'm not interested in knowing what that means because if I stop there, that means I stopped caring about my family and my legacy and my lineage, and that'd be a shame to them. That'd be disrespectful to them, so that ain't happening.
I see the same viewpoints that you see. I tell a lot of people, actually, I'm like, the family tree can only go on for so long. You know, well, let's say you get all girls, right? Boom, your last name's quote unquote dead, whatever. Legacy is what it's all about for me. You know, I the way I see it too is my driving factor, you know, aside from family, mindset, competitor, why not me, man? Why not me? Why not you? You know, if someone's gonna do something, why not me?
Straight up.
And I think that's taken me really far in terms of my career, my achievements, the people that I've sat down, because if it's not gonna be X or Y, who else is it gonna be, right? And you need that mindset, you need that hunger.
Yeah.
Let's talk about one thing now. And I want to touch base on this because I think you're good at it, because I like how you speak. Sales, you're a closer. What's the art of the close for you?
Let me tell you a story about my childhood real quick, okay?
Okay.
Because people have said that, and I appreciate it. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. I think I'm a pretty good speaker. I don't think I'm great, but I think I'm pretty
You articulate
good.
well.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I've spent a lot of time on it as I stutter saying the thing that I'm supposed to, right? When I was a young boy, I was an immigrant kid, and I was in ESL.
I was too.
Were you really? Okay,
Yeah.
my man, beautiful man, good. I was in ESL, bruv, and I don't know about you, but I was bullied in ESL, which is wild because it's English second language, right? That's what it stands for.
Yeah.
all these fucking kids knew English. I swear to God. Like, how do you get picked on for English second language when everyone's supposed to be in that class and these guys speak English? It made no sense to me. So I got bullied. I got made fun of. And I think that has a big piece to do with who I am today and why I spend so much time in being able to articulate myself in an effective manner.
Yeah.
Because I've also learned over the years is this, because everything's fueled by something, right? Patrick Bet-David's got a really good book on it. It's called Choose Your Enemies Wisely. And it's being able to find people or situations that bullied you, picked on you, doubted you, etc., and then using that as just fuel to just dominate them. And then once you dominate them, you realize it's not even about them. It's really about you and who you want to impact and who you want to become. The second half of that answer is this. I think everyone should learn how to articulate themselves in a manner that's just easily digestible by the masses. I'm going to tell you why. The best communicators in the world are the ones that rule this world. Like the Hitlers of the world were very powerful because how they could articulate.
Presidents,
right? Like we hear them. Maybe
I don't know about it. I don't know about
Biden. But outside of that, prior to that, if you ever heard like a Barack Obama speech,
he's
right?
Good.
Incredible. You heard Trump speak, and he could just like captivate the crowd. He'd have people cheering and doing all sorts of crazy stuff. There is so much power in that, bruv. Because one of the big things I mentioned earlier is you got to be able to articulate your vision. Well, if you can't articulate yourself well in an English language or whatever your language is and wherever you're living, how are people even going to understand? You may see it up here, but if you cannot speak it well, how are you going to get other people bought in? And by speak it, I don't just mean words. It's how you say it, right? It's how you paint the picture. You got to be like Picasso with that shit. Like you need to have every vivid detail possibly known to man when you explain these things. Like even if you're in a relationship, right? And you're with your lady. I once had this happen. I had an ex-girlfriend tell me, you know, you're so good at talking about your future and your vision that like, but I don't ever see like me in any of it. You don't ever talk about like me when you're talking about where you're going, what you want to accomplish, etc.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And in my head, I was like, well, maybe you should get the point. I'm kidding, terrible. But yeah, it did.
What's your future though? At the end of the day.
But I think the point is, people got to know where they fit in, right? Like in our business, when I was sharing the vision of where Blue Hammer's going and who we want to be, people want to know, okay, but what does that mean for me? Where do I fit in? Like, what am I going to do? And if you can't articulate that to people or your customers on when you sell them the service or the product or whatever, what does that mean for me? That's the first question everyone asks, right? What's in it for me? If you can't articulate that to people, you're losing customer base, you're losing a following, you're losing potential employees and people to impact. I think everyone should even spend money on courses to go speak better and communicate better, especially if this is the only language that you speak, right? You speak a couple languages, I speak a couple languages. But if this is your one and only language, and they say conversation rules the nation, you should invest in your ability to communicate and speak. Because it'll take you to heights that a lot of other things just won't. So I've made it just a priority to read more, to study more on it, and just get better with it. So if I'm in situations like this, or I'm in front of 5,000 people or whatever, people can feel what I'm saying. Because there's that old saying, people don't know how much you know until they know how much you care. And truthfully, to get to people's minds, you got to go through their hearts. And when you're a good speaker, you got to be able to hit people's hearts first. Yeah, and then once you get their emotions, then you can influence their thinking. So I think it's very important that we do that, man. That's how we change the world.
That's beautiful. So in terms of, I guess, your projections, Blue Hammer aside, Kaiser, where do you want to be doing in the next 15, 20 years? Where do you see yourself?
That's a really good question, bruv. I want to do a few different things. Once this Blue Hammer thing and private equity stuff is done, like, which will be many years from now, but let's say 15 years from now, right? I want to do a bunch of passion-driven stuff, because I'm not a believer in like chase your passion shit. I think that's a bunch of bullshit. Like, you learn your passion by becoming good at something, and you become good at something by trying something, right? You never knew soccer was your passion until you went to go play soccer and you tried it, and then you started becoming very good at it, and then you started getting recognition and you started getting accolades and trophies, and now magically it's your passion. That's how passions work.
That's a really good theory. I think I would agree with that.
Right? Like, that's how it's built. Like, that's how passions are built. So I'd like to, and I do have some passions. Some of my passions involve, I love cars. I love watches. All right, so I'd want to get in that game at some capacity, like nice higher-end luxury supercars and things of that sort. I like to mess around with that, but that wouldn't be enough for me. I'd like to do something where I want to work with the young men of the world. I've had the ability to go speak at schools to young boys and kind of just talk to them about what it means to be a man and be a strong man, because there's a big agenda being pushed that's really the exact opposite on how you should be soft, how you should be weak, how you should cave in and not pursue to be the best version of yourself and be someone of honor and merit. And I just, man, I disagree with that so much fundamentally that I will literally go and speak for free to kids all around the world to tell them that's a bunch of shit, and here's what you really want. Let me show you how you can get the supercars and you can get the nice house and life and nice woman and give them the lives that they all deserve in your families. So I'd like to spend a lot of time doing that and working with the young men of the world. That's something that really excites me.
So let me ask you a question. Prior to what you said, what are the key elements in terms of what defines a man? What makes a man a man?
That's a really good question. So what I'll use an acronym that I use when I spoke to kids at the Barack Obama Leadership Academy in Dallas, right? And the acronym was MAN, M-A-N, and I'll explain each one. M stands for masculine, A stands for accountable, N stands for network. If I had to sum up what a man is, a good man, right? A good man is a man of fundamental principles. A good man is strong physically and, of course, mentally and emotionally. A good man is disciplined. A good man takes care of his woman. A good man takes care of his kids. A good man takes care of his parents, his family. He takes care of everyone that he loves. A good man is willing to sacrifice himself for the greater good. A good man is one who is selfless. I think in a nutshell, that's what sums up a good man. A good man is accountable. A good man does not make excuses. A good man does not point the finger, oh, it's Steven's fault. No, it's not. It's your fault. Why are you pointing the finger at him? Why are you pointing that finger at your ex-girlfriend? You chose her. Did someone put a gun to your head, say you have to be with her? All right, well then why was that gun to your head? Why were you in that situation? You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be accountable. There's no excuses here, man. Like, you can't. Because once you accept one excuse, you accept all of them. And that's the shitty thing about excuses. That's how it works. And society will give you socially acceptable excuses that are just, oh, but excuse. But but so-and-so, because of his ex-girlfriend, he's not the excuse. You can't be that guy if you want to be someone that's honorable and respected, man. And that's another big one. A good man is someone who values respect over love, in my opinion. Because truthfully, and I sent this message out to my team yesterday, to all my leaders, we have market partners in different cities like Dallas, Austin, San Antonio, and I said, guys, please don't ever be in a situation where you're craving the affection of your people. If you're going to crave something, crave their respect. Respect is everything. They don't have to like you, they don't have to love you, but they damn sure need to respect you. Because when people respect a strong man, they'll follow his orders, his commands, his lead, I should say. When they don't respect you, it's over. Just like with a woman in a relationship. I've learned this about women over the years. If a woman respects you, bro, she will literally do anything for you. If the moment you lose respect, that relationship is done. It's over. She will still love you and she will still care for you. But if she's lost respect for you, she is now capable of cheating on you. But not if she respects you. If she respects you, she'll never do something of that sort. And I've just learned that over the years. I've studied relationships, including my own, and I've seen where I've went right and where I went wrong. And respect trumps everything in this world, especially when you want to be a leader in a household, in politics, and business. Respect is everything. And then the final piece of that is a network. Good, strong men need other strong men to push them. I gave an example on a podcast I was on weeks back, and since the beginning of the year, I've been working out with two guys that are bigger and stronger than I am, and they weigh more than I am. But you best believe I'm doing damn near all the same exact amount of weights as they are. Part of it's because I'm a dog, and I'm competitive, and that's what strong men will do. They'll challenge you, they'll push you, bro, because, listen, I've been working out before them. Why am I pushing myself that much more that I'm working out with people stronger than me? Network. And that's why it's important for these relationships to exist, right? Because there's areas in I don't have a podcast. I'm interested in having one. Who do you think can maybe help me with one? You just mentioned it earlier. Hey, man, I could connect you with so on and so forth with this app and so on. And, like, this is what good networks of men do. So
bringing value and trying to lift each other up and help each other out.
Correct.
And at the end of the day, too, not always asking for anything in return, just doing it out of the goodness.
Yeah, and you know what good men do? They remember and they go out of their way to return that favor. Not that we're keeping score.
I agree 100%.
But I want to reciprocate.
Yeah, like the example with the dinner that I mentioned to you.
Yeah, I want to reciprocate, man. And it should be that way.
Yep.
It should be that way. So I think those are very important, like, key attributes and traits that every man should possess.
So let me ask you a question. So let's say there's a kid, right? Let's say 16-year-old kid. He's hungry, he's driven, right? He's a young entrepreneur, ambitious entrepreneur, aspiring entrepreneur. He has a vision. Maybe he wants to create something, right? He's hungry, he's focused, and he's like, Kaiser, how do I start my own business? How do I make it successful? What are some of, let's say, or 3, 4, or 5 tips that you would say, okay, when it comes to business, doesn't matter what it is, this is what you have to do, this is what you have to implement, and this is how you execute it?
That's a very good question. I only have 2 things to tell this young man. First things first, go learn sales. Okay. That is absolutely positively number 1. I'll say that until I die. Go learn sales. Bro, when you go learn sales, it is like a self-discovery journey. It's not just sales, but you learn how to deal with people. This world is all text messages, DMs, Instagram, Facebook, etc. Go learn this. Go learn face-to-face first before you go do anything else, because you're going to be selling to customers, right? You have a product or service. It's like, oh, it'll be all digital. Well, you don't think you'll ever have to meet with anyone at some point in a face-to-face conversation? Certainly you will. And if not, it'll be via Zoom, but you have to go learn sales. You learn negotiation. You learn how to deal with the word no. Do you know how difficult it is in today's day and age for someone to hear the word no? They shell up. They don't even know how to handle it. They freeze like, oh, shit, what? They can't even communicate no more.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, learning those traits, learning the art of the hustle, learning to go build your own thing, go do a commission-based sales job. Watch what that teaches you. Go learn to knock some doors. Go learn to go prospect at a Walmart and go try to sell something.
Yeah.
You will build so much self-confidence, because then at some point you're going to want to go talk to a girl. You've been talking to thousands of strangers every week. Do you think you're going to be that much scared to go talk to the woman of your dreams? Probably not. It's a self journey that you go through, and it's one of the most beautiful things in the world. And every man, really every human being in my opinion, but I can only speak to men at this point because that's what we're talking about to a certain extent, go learn sales. That's number 1. 2, go find a mentor in whatever you're doing. You have to. Bro, mentors help you collapse time. They help you save heartache, headache, and time. They really do. And money, because the right mentors was up. I've been there, done that. That cost me X amount of dollars. Don't do that. There's so much value in that. If you can do those 2 things, everything else you can figure out, bro. Everything's on YouTube these days. Everything you can study in a course, you can buy a course, you can attend a class, you can go do whatever. But without having sales experience and learning that true hustle and how to deal with rejection and learning negotiation and techniques and how to deal with one-on-one human interaction, along with having someone there to guide you and protect you and save you money, time, headache, heartache, you're going to be going through this vicious cycle where you won't even get it down for like another 10 years. Cut that down to 5 years. Those would be the 2 biggest things, and everything else you can figure out.
I agree. I know kind of talking to you when I was driving here, you were telling me, we were trying to do the podcast early, but then you're like, oh, it's fine, bro. I have work, workout, and then pray. So I want to touch a little bit on that. How important is prayer God in this circumstance in terms of your life? How important has he been?
Man, listen, bro. Having God as your ally, you can't be stopped. If it's me against another man, and I got God on my side and he doesn't, who's winning? I'm winning 100 out of 100 times. Simple as that. God gives you things that no other human being can give you. God can help you with the heartache when you go through a breakup like no other human being can help you with. Because it's something much bigger than you. When you're depressed and you're sad and you're angry, you're mad, you can reach out to God and share whatever you got going on and God won't judge you. And God will, matter of fact, be like, I understand, and God will help you through whatever you're going through. Other humans either A, won't support you, B, will judge you, or C, don't even know how to handle you. God does. Having God as your ally, I think, is the most important thing that any and every man should do. Like, we must, man. Like, that's just a force that you cannot mess with and you cannot compete with. Like, it is a very divine force that you can't even, like you can feel.
Yeah, you can.
But, like,
it's not tangible. Yeah.
That's all I can say. It's that important to me. And I think if more people got closer to God, I think their lives would change and they'd find a deeper sense of purpose and happiness. There's a lot of people who can't find that. And I've never really met anyone that's close to God or prays that says that they're not anywhere in alignment with their purpose or happiness or anything. It's always the people who are far, far away from God. And it's like, I know why.
So having said that, I guess for someone that watches this and they're like, man, it's so easy for him to say that. He's successful, right? Everything has gone his way. In your dark moments in life, you know, did you still have that relationship with God too? Was he the driving factor within that too? Because a lot of people will give us shit, right? For like, oh, it's easy for you to say, you're successful already.
Sure.
You know, but I'm talking, you know, those dark moments are like, hey, like, no, trust me, like, take it from me. When I was in this position, this was like at the moment.
Man, that's a really good question. I think like most people, my relationship with God over the years has been up and down. Okay. I can't say that it's all been highs. There's been some lows, and I think that's part of the journey, though. I think we're humans. We're meant to make mistakes, right? Like, none of us are perfect. We're meant to increase our faith, decrease our faith, and go through these ups and downs. But as long as we end up back to where God is at, I think that's ultimately what's most important. Obviously, if you can stay closer to here than here, much better. But I've had my fair shares of highs and lows where I've been mad, where I've been upset, where I couldn't explain it, and I felt like, you know, no one was looking out. Bro, listen, 3-4 years ago, I was $500,000 in debt. Like, you don't think I went through it all? My family's counting on me. People are counting on me. I went through a breakup that broke my heart, that crushed my heart, and I had to go to God, man, because I was like, I need to like feel something again. Like, I need to get out of this slump, like with this mental slump, this emotional heartache. And you can only exercise so much, you can only stay busy so much, you can only do so much without seeking the help of God to overcome some of these things. So I think regardless of where you're at in your journey with God, I think just don't stop praying. Because certainly the recipe to fail and to get further away is to stop praying and to stop believing. Even if your heart's not in it while you're praying, maybe there's that old saying, motion creates emotion. I don't know if you've heard that before. Motion creates emotion. The motion of praying will maybe slowly over time start generating emotion, which will start like just re-inspiring you and reconnecting you with God. Just don't get too far away.
That's beautiful,
my brother,
man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Before we close out, is there any final words that you want to say to a viewer? Any closing statements?
I didn't come with any story or any narrative or anything I'd specifically like to say. But if you're putting me on the spot, I'd encourage everyone to just work on being the best version of yourself. Get close with God. Become someone of discipline. Become someone of merit. This is a short life we get to live, but we spend a lot of time here. Be someone that's honorable. Be someone that's solid. Be someone that's respected. Be someone that people will remember. Be someone that when your time comes, there's a long line of people at your grave saying that, man, that human being, that person changed my life, that person impacted my life. Because I promise you, if you spend your life focusing on other people and making sure they're good, you'll always be good. It's just how God works. It's just how the universe works. And if we all follow that same sentiment and that thought process, we'll be in a much better place than we are today. And that's all we can ask for. So thank you so much for having me, my brother. I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. Yes, sir.
Thank you guys for tuning in. I'll see you guys in the next episode.